Hey guys, yeah, you know the D-backs call 12 News home, and we're going to show you something pretty exclusive that you're going to get to see this week starting at Chase Field. We're right now out here in center field at the ballpark at the D-backs Hall of Fame and Museum. Check out this place. Look at it. It's awesome. It's got memorabilia, favorite moments from years past, and then right over here, photography. Yes, these are pictures actually taken by Hall of Famer and D-backs legend Randy Johnson. These are from his personal collection. You all know at home, he's been a big photographer post his baseball career. He's traveled the world taking pictures of all kinds of things. And now you, the fans, can get a chance to see his exclusive collection right here at Chase Field. Standing here with D-backs legend Randy Johnson in the D-backs Hall of Fame, where of course there's probably plenty of things that you've contributed throughout the years inside of here. But the coolest thing, Randy, is of course your artwork now being displayed for fans to see inside of the ballpark you pitched at, won a World Series. And what does that mean to you?
Well, going back about 3 years now, my first exhibit was in Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I had it was a pretty good size display of my work from Africa and Ethiopia. And then that lasted 7 months, and when that was winding down, someone here in Arizona, the Scottsdale, the Performing Arts, reached out to me and asked if I would be able to bring the same exhibit, maybe scaled down a little bit for size, for room purposes, and displayed. And I said, sure. And ironically enough, I had just gotten back from Africa, so now I had new content to show that had never been seen before. So I had that display there in Scottsdale, and that lasted a couple, 3 months. And then from there, the Foundry on Central, downtown hotel there locally here, promotes local artists, and they had asked if I was interested in showing some of my work, and they even took it a bit further. They said, let's show a little bit more broader variety of your work. And that meant by not only my Africa photography, but my travel photography, and even some of my earliest stuff that I shot when I was in college, which was mostly concerts, because I was working for the Daily Trojan then.
Some of your concerts or photos are pretty cool. You've seen some great shows over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that, at the age of 18, 19 years old, I was seeing The Who and The Clash and all kinds of cool bands.
There, you're right there on the stage.
Right there for about 3 songs, yeah. And that's really where my photography began. A lot of people think I just started it when I retired. I've been taking pictures for 40 years. That's actually where I learned how to develop film and studied photojournalism there at USC in the early 80s.
What does it mean to have these pictures here, Randy? How cool is this to kind of mix, of course, your baseball legacy with your love of photography? Fans get to enjoy both now.
Well, I think it's, there's no greater place than having it at the Baseball Hall of Fame. I had it there for 7 months, and it was my hopes to bring it to the ballpark. And it's a much smaller scale of my work now, sure. But I'm happy that something is here, and I'm happy that the fans will have time to go through and see some of my work. Some people don't know that I'm a photographer. A lot do that follow me on social media, yeah. And so, but it's nothing new. I've been doing this now, like I said, for the last 15 years, more consistently.
Yeah, and then what do you hope people get out of your artwork, Randy? Or what do you hope they take away from it? Or do you enjoy talking to them about things that they see in your artwork too as well?
Well, yeah, I go to my exhibits and I do walkthroughs with people. I surprise people and show up at my exhibit and walk through and explain some of the work. But what they get out of it is completely up to them. Sure. It's, artwork and photography, painting, all that is all subjective. A lot of people might think, well, this is kind of, common and I can take the same thing. And that's true, you probably could. Sure. I'm sharing it just because I've been asked to share it. I enjoy sharing my work, and, there's been a great feedback through my social media that people enjoy seeing my work. So
what do they say to you? Just curious, what do people say?
Well, that just, people enjoy, the greatest response I got from my photography was in Cooperstown, where people were seeing my work for the first time, seeing work up close like this of Africa, and they said that they were inspired. Now they want to go to Africa. And for me or for them to have that feeling, that's pretty cool. that maybe I've impacted their chance to go see Africa themselves, because it's a great place. It's one of the places that I've traveled the most. I think it's like 7 times now, and still just scratching the surface as far as areas that you can see other than just the animals. There's so much more.
Is there such thing as a perfect photo, or what makes it?
I don't think so. It's perfect for the day, and something's even better tomorrow.
What catches your eye? What are some things you look for when you look through your camera?
Just looking for interesting things that would capture your eye or your cameraman's eye, stuff that, can be powerful. And sometimes you don't realize something has an impact on someone until they see it. Some of my best pictures have been taken with my iPhone.
Really?
Yeah.
Like which ones?
Well, a picture when I was leaving Ethiopia, a small little village, a couple of the kids that I had been interacting with, talking to, and messing around with, one kid, was probably about, I don't know, 7'1".
He's taller than you?
Yeah. And, we were doing like, how high we could reach up. But I was interacting with these people, and I put my camera away because I thought, I'm getting ready to leave now. And my window was up. I was sitting in the back seat with my tour guide, and he went to go put his hand up, kind of like to high five me, or just, I took a picture of that, and that's, a pretty impactful picture. It's in the back of my coffee table book that I have out now as well.
Would you say more of your photography at home is displayed than anything baseball?
Absolutely, yeah. And at one time, no. Obviously, I was very proud of what I've done in this game.
Sure.
And proud of the people that I've met, and have items by them. But now in my house, there's just a small room of other people's signatures, of people that I've idolized throughout the years, and a few mementos from the World Series and things like that. But throughout my house, it's mostly my photography now.
Because that's what brings you the most joy these days.
Well, it's the thing that's the most present in my life. Baseball has been great, but I gave half of my life. I don't even know if I'll live another, 46 years to be in the 90s. But, from the age of 7 years old till 46, that was a span that I did nothing else other than play baseball. And so when I retired, I just needed to find something else to keep my mind right and be creative, and I still was helping at the baseball level. But now I just I enjoyed traveling. The first thing that was asked to do was go on USO tours, and so from the year I retired, 2009, till COVID, 2019, I probably went on 20 USO tours all over the world.
That's so cool.
And that kind of got me in the mode of traveling and bringing my camera and taking pictures. And then I thought, well, I'm here in Germany, or I'm here somewhere else, how about if I go somewhere and see something that I want to see, and then I'll fly home from there. So, I was, had the best of both worlds. I'm doing something impactful for the men and women that serve our country, and visiting them, and then at the same time, at the end of the trip, get to go see something that I've never seen before and take photos of it and share it with someone else that's never seen it, or maybe even doesn't know about it.
Yeah, you've seen so much of the world, Ray. Do you ever stop and just think about all the cool things that you've seen, been to in person?
I never really stopped and thought much about what I did in baseball. I think when you start getting caught up and you start thinking about what you're doing, and start you'll slow your momentum down.
I mean, around the world with your photography, you've just seen so much of the world that people have never got to see, and that probably will never get to see.
Yeah, well, I feel extremely blessed. My mom and dad never traveled outside of the United States.
Wow.
And I've traveled probably the equivalent of 3 times, 4 times around the world, and they never left the United States. Yeah. So what I've gotten to see is due to baseball, due to my hard work and my attention to detail, and that carries off into something else that I enjoy doing. But anybody can do it, anybody can take photos, and I learned a lot of stuff on YouTube. I learned a lot of stuff when I studied it in college, and I talked to other photographers.
Do you enjoy giving people advice along the way about photography?
I don't give advice on picture taking.
Just anything like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if someone wants to talk shop, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Obviously, you and Ken Griffey played ball together. Ken Griffey Jr. in Seattle. He's also a big photographer too, as well. Took some pictures at the Masters recently. Have you and him ever traded shop about photography, or have you seen any of his work?
I think he's just kind of gotten into it. I think when his kids were in college, he was doing more family type stuff. And so I think it's been very recent that he's kind of gotten into that. And I think what he enjoys shooting is not necessarily what I gravitate towards. He enjoys shooting sports, and I've lived it all my life. I would much rather see something else that I've never seen before than see a double play or, something, baseball related.
Did you and him ever talk photography back in the day?
No, but he wasn't into photography, but I was, because remember I studied it in college. Yep. So I did it all the way up until my minor league days, and then I was going out late at night taking photos on the street in Seattle, and some of my funnest pictures that I have are from Seattle.
After games?
During the off season,
sure.
And so he wasn't into that then. He, like I said, I think he just got into it recently. So, but it's good for him. Yeah,
I will never forget the picture of you at a Cardinal game where you're shooting some football. You see all the other photographers.
Yeah, but I think that was a misnomer, because people thought, and this is how impactful media is that something came out of that everybody thought that I was a sideline photographer for the NFL. I had just bought that lens and was using it because I was getting ready to go to Africa.
That was the test run?
Yes. And so I think I've shot in one NFL game, and so people were saying, hey, he's an NFL sideline photographer. No, I'm not. No, I've been to one Cardinal game, and I watch a lot of Cardinal games on TV. I watch you report, and I watch the games, but I'm not a sideline photographer. What I enjoy shooting is landscape photography. Some of my favorite cities are, Italy and Prague, animals in Africa, Ethiopia, portrait photography there, and the list goes on. But that's the stuff that motivates me, excites me, and it's no different than, there's a lot of parallels to me going on a trip and doing photography as it is me pitching tomorrow in a game. All of it you have to be prepared for all of it. I'm going to do my due diligence. I know where I'm going. I know what time what time of the year I'm going. Sure. Am I going there in the morning? Am I going there at night to take the pictures?
It's the same preparation.
So I'm doing all my, research and all that. No different than a baseball game the next night when I'm pitching. Yep. So you're more prepared that way.
This one is somewhat
This
special,
is one of my signature pieces. This was the signature piece at the Baseball Hall of Fame. So when you walked into the gallery, this is what you first saw there. And it's obviously a leopard up in a tree there, and it was taken in the Serengeti. And it was about 7 o'clock in the morning when I got picked up by my guide. And he said there had been a leopard sighting. And so we were going there, and he picked me up, and it was still, still a little dark out, and so the sun's coming up, and basically by the time we got to this location, which was about a half an hour from my camp that I was staying at, sure enough, the leopard was up there, and but what was also on the ground were two big lions, which evidently probably scared the leopard up in the tree. But so the leopard wasn't going anywhere because the lions weren't going anywhere. They were just laying on the ground. And so he asked if I wanted some coffee. I said, sure. And I just got my camera gear all set up. And whenever I wanted to make eye contact with him, I just basically knocked on the side of the metal door. And he would look right at me. So this is what you have. And this is obviously a horizontal picture, but I have a vertical picture from the top of the head to the bottom of its tail over my fireplace. So this is one of several Africa pictures that I have in my house.
Wow, let's keep going here, Randy. I love the shot of the Coliseum.
This is the Coliseum at, when you think you're waking up, you take a cab somewhere, you know where you're going, you know what time you want to get up, and you make the plans to do that. But you think you're going to be there by yourself, and that's just not the case, because you're not the only person that's gets excited about doing this stuff. You know, I was one of probably 25 photographers waiting for the sun to come up, you know, and so this is obviously the Colosseum at Rome, and a great trip, and you know, Italy is one of my favorite destinations to travel to.
It looks like you're by yourself. Just saying, it looks like you were the only photographer there.
Yeah.
What is this one?
This is downtown Seattle. This was taken probably in 1991, and it was with a film camera back in the day. I was just roaming the streets. Might have been the off season.
That's what you just talked about. Just when you roam the streets and find something.
Just roaming the streets in Seattle in 1991, maybe during the off season. And this used to be an old a newspaper stand. And the thing that was pretty cool about it is that this is Pike Place Market at sea level right there. And this is, if you walk around this book stand right here, it's the famous area that used to be on commercials for Levi's. They would be throwing the salmon there. But the funny thing about this is that it's snowing there, and that didn't happen very often. And so I just, you know, this picture is timeless to me because I mean, you know, it was taken in black and white film. But I just, you know, it's one of my longest lasting images that has, you know, stayed in my portfolio forever. So
I love the newspapers, like
all
the newspapers.
And
read all about it.
And it's not there anymore now. So, you know, what I captured, you know, 25, 30 years ago, you know, I still have that visually, whereas it's not around anymore.
People have walked that exact
Well, I
path
thought the
time.
picture of this gentleman with the trench coat and the hat was kind of ominous, you know, and just being the snow and all that. But it's one of my favorite black and white pictures, and one of my favorite Seattle pictures that I've taken.
Oh, man, that's so cool. Oh, there's your jersey.
Moving on, this is a place called Vernaza, and it's one of 5 small little villages that you can all connected, and you can get to each of the small little villages or small little towns via a small little commuter train. And they all essentially are different, but they all yet look alike. And I just thought, you know, Italy is, like I said, one of my favorite destinations to travel to. It's got so much from south all the way up north to see, and might be a destination that one day I may go live there and just, you know, travel throughout that country and get a lot and maybe do another book.
Yeah, because everything can be. I mean, it's beautiful.
Everything, you can't take a bad picture there. Yeah, it was kind of an ominous day in Paris when I was visiting there, and just thought the whole angles and all that. When I saw it on my computer, it was a color picture, and then I transposed it to black, and as soon as I did that, all the lines just kind of popped, and I just thought it was kind of a cool little thing.
The black and white definitely makes that pop. What's this one?
This is Ethiopia. I've been to Ethiopia now 2 times. The first time I was in Ethiopia, I had a guide, and having guides, you know, really can bring a lot more to your trip, especially if they're well educated within the area. And you know, my photographer, my guide. On this particular trip, of my second trip to Ethiopia 2 years ago, he was a photographer, so he was a really good photographer as well. So he knew what I would be looking for in wanting the picture taking, you know, and so it was really, the trip just flew by. And
y'all had the same eye for
he really had some amazing photographs. And when you're a guide of somewhere like that and you're doing it every day, you know, the chances are limitless that, you know, what you're going to see, you know. And so for me, you know, I'm dealing, you know, when you go to Africa, you're dealing with animals. There is no guarantee you're going to see what you want to see in the environment you want to see it in. But with the people here in Ethiopia, you know, I'm compensating them to take pictures. So they're in almost my model, if you will. And so I think the pictures over there are extremely powerful, and extremely humbled going there and being allowed to take pictures and live outside of their little village that they live in. And it's a very eye-opening experience.
You lived there?
I did, for 5 days.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I live in a little camp, a little literally a pitched tent.
You must have been the tallest person.
And I took a shower out in the creek like they do, you know, just bathe out there. This was another picture in Ethiopia. This little boy his name precedes me right now, but they called him the blue-eyed boy. That's how he's named after, for obvious reasons. Just extremely impactful opportunity to take a picture of him. And I didn't know anything about him, but when my guide asked me if I was interested in meeting him and taking pictures of him, I said sure. Yeah. So I didn't know what I was, going to see, but obviously it was a great opportunity to meet him, to hear his story, and then and then the final results. Just bring back pictures that maybe someone's never seen before. People have commented on this picture through my social media. In 1984, somewhere around there, 82, there was another photographer for National Geographic that took a picture of a foreign lady from a foreign country that I can't remember, but she had impactful eyes as well on the National Geographic magazine, and that resonated with them, and then they kind of compared this picture to that. So.
Brady, that's so cool.
And then this picture,
London,
right below the Westminster Bridge, and just a lot of times just roaming around taking pictures, and all of a sudden the picture kind of materializes. In a lot of my travels, the reason why I go early is so there's less people there. Gotcha. Obviously, a destination as popular as this location in this place, there's going to be a lot of people there. So the less people you have to deal with to get your picture, the better.
Can you go incognito to places like this, or do you get recognized?
Well, I get recognized. Well, I mean, there's Americans that are traveling everywhere I'm at. So if you're American and you're in sports, then I get recognized. But nobody from Ethiopia recognized me. They're not watching the Diamondback games there.
Sure. So. That's fair enough. Fair point. Fair point.
Just got back from Kyoto.
What a view. And
this is a famous temple with the Mount Fuji in the background. But the big thing, it's high season has just gotten over in Japan. The reason why that is because the cherry blossom time there. And I had missed it in this picture, and then unfortunately I didn't travel down to this particular location to get a revised picture of this. But Asia is an amazing place. I've been to Japan several times, and it's one of my favorite destinations along with Africa.
What a view there. I mean, that's as beautiful as it gets.
And last but not least, traveling through Vietnam. Several years ago, I was walking. I asked my driver, let me out, and I would just walk back to my hotel where I was staying at. And so he was just driving really slow in front of me, and I was just kind of taking the environment in and going by through a residential area. And this couple right here were eating dinner, and I just kind of, with the universal, can I take your picture? They smiled and nodded their head yes. So this is a picture that's in my house. I like it so much. So I think it's pretty impactful, and it tells the story. And I remember when I took this picture, and all these pictures have meaning, or I wouldn't enlarge them and show them. But some pictures that have more meaning to me and maybe less to somebody else. But a lot of times, some other picture that I have here will be impactful to them, and sure. So
that's the cool thing, like the meaning.
Yeah,
behind each photo.
I just like to see.
There's a meaning and a story, right?
Yeah, well, they all have stories, and I just like when someone walks through the gallery and they notice something that maybe I didn't, or something triggers their memory to an experience they had, or hearing their story. So the bottom line is I just enjoy sharing, my experiences.